When a U.S. Army veteran was arrested on conspiracy charges for his role in an anti-ICE protest in Spokane, Washington last summer, it was the first time an American had been charged with conspiracy in connection with the ongoing ICE protests. Some legal experts saw it as an escalation of the administration's efforts to suppress, even criminalize, First Amendment rights. Special correspondent Aaron Glantz has the story, which was produced with the support of the Pulitzer Center.
The sound of banging on Army veteran Bajun Mavalwalla's front door startled him awake at 6 a.m., the morning of July 15th, 2025.
Something's not right. And I went and I looked out the upstairs window. The street's all closed off, and there's a bunch of guys with rifles.
It was the FBI, and they had come to arrest him.
My dad very, very quickly after that was like, Baj, it's the FBI, they've got a warrant.
Bajun was arrested for conspiracy for his role in an anti-ICE protest more than a month earlier.
I'm an Afghanistan veteran. I'm an American citizen.
Bajun kept his cool in handcuffs while the FBI searched his pockets.
Have you been read your rights?
His father recorded this video.
My son is steady as a rock, saying, he's an Afghanistan veteran, that this is unjust.
If convicted, Bajun would face up to 6 years in prison.
I don't think that you really realize how far away we've come from democracy until you open the door and see federal agents to arrest your son for a nonviolent protest.
Bajun comes from a military family. His parents both served in the Army. His father, Bajun Ray Mavalwalla, a retired intelligence officer, earned 3 Bronze Stars in Iraq and Afghanistan. He and Bajun served in Afghanistan at the same time.
I think that might be my favorite photograph in the entire world.
The younger Mavalwalla provided signals intelligence in Kandahar province, one of the most dangerous parts of Afghanistan. His unit suffered casualties, including one time a fellow soldier stepped on an IED.
There was 3 amputations, three traumatic brain injuries. I was maybe 10, 15 yards back.
My son's incredibly brave. He believes that you should do the things you're supposed to do.
After coming home from the war, Bajun moved to the Pacific Northwest. He felt he'd done his duty. Like many veterans, he said he wanted to find some peace.
I bought the land, and it's beautiful. There's tons of trees. I've seen wolves on it. There's been moose. There's been bears. It's quiet.
But a few years later, in 2021, when Kabul fell to the Taliban, Bajun felt compelled to serve again, this time out of uniform, volunteering to help dozens of America's Afghan allies come to the United States.
Every single person here, except for the people who are indigenous to the Americas, is an immigrant or comes from immigrants. It's absolutely ludicrous to think that we can get away with not bringing people in, especially people who we told, hey, if you help us, we'll help you.
5 weeks before his arrest, Bajun saw a Facebook post from the former president of the Spokane City Council. 2 men with pending asylum applications had been detained at a routine ICE check-in and were going to be transported for deportation. I am going to sit in front of the bus, he wrote. Feel free to join me.
Happened to be scrolling through and saw it pop up, and I was like, well, I have time. I'll swing by and see what's going on. I'm pretty upset about how this country is treating immigrants. The people they rolled up were legal asylum seekers. They'd been doing everything right. There was no reason for them to be detained.
The protest was, for the most part, peaceful, but at times it turned contentious. Bajun can be seen in this video briefly tangling with masked federal agents. One ICE agent pushes Bajun in the back, knocking Bajun into another, who grabs him. Bajun and the agent shove each other and then disengage. Then demonstrators back up and link arms to try to block the gate to stop ICE from taking the asylum seekers away. Dozens of people were arrested, but Bajun wasn't among them. Richard Barker, the acting U.S. Attorney for Eastern Washington State, had monitored the protest from his office on the other side of the Spokane River.
I went to bed that evening feeling like this situation could have been a lot worse than how it ended up.
Barker had worked for the DOJ for 11 years and focused on prosecuting drug smugglers and murderers. But the day after the Spokane protest, the Justice Department sent him and the 92 other U.S. attorneys nationwide a memo that demanded they prioritize prosecutions of ICE protesters. So Barker authorized an investigation. His staff started preparing a conspiracy indictment against Bajun Mavalwalla and 8 others, something Barker knew he couldn't support.
Nobody was really hurt. None of the protesters were hurt. Fortunately, none of the law enforcement officers were hurt either.
He was aware that other U.S. attorneys had been ousted for refusing to comply with Trump Justice Department orders, and he worried about his ability to act ethically if he stayed on the job. So he resigned.
I didn't feel in this case that a conspiracy charge that would carry a 6-year term of incarceration was true to who I was or who I wanted to be as a federal prosecutor.
2 days after Barker quit, his successor signed the indictment, charging Bajun and the others with conspiracy to impede or injure a federal officer, the first time conspiracy charges had been brought against ICE protesters. In a statement to the NewsHour, the DOJ said it respects the First Amendment and the right of Americans to peacefully protest, but will never tolerate the obstruction of lawful immigration operations or putting federal agents in harm's way.
Should we go in?
The day he was arrested, Bajun was getting ready to move into a new house. He and his girlfriend, Kate, bought it with a VA mortgage.
This is the service uniform. I was in 9 years.
Kate's also an Afghanistan war veteran. She deployed as a medic.
We're not weak people. We are willing to fight for what is right, which is, it's a First Amendment issue.
Bajun agrees and is standing his ground. They say that you were part of a felony conspiracy to impede or assault a federal officer.
Conspiracy requires people communicating and planning it out and saying, yeah, we're going to do this and this is why we're going to do it and this is how we're going to do it. None of that happened. At least not as far as I know. I wasn't part of any of it.
Since Bajun's arrest in July, the use of federal conspiracy charges has spread. Prosecutors have filed them against demonstrators in Chicago and also investigated Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey for the same crime.
What these people are doing to my son, and that they're doing all across the country, is unconscionable, and people need to know about it.
How y'all doing today?
Inspired by Bajun's arrest and concerned about what he sees as the misuse of government authority, his father announced in January that he was running for Congress, challenging Spokane's Republican incumbent. It was a day after federal agents fatally shot Renee Good in Minneapolis, and he stopped by a demonstration in Spokane.
This is me and my son in Afghanistan. He was arrested by the FBI. It's unconscionable and it's un-American.
The shock of Renee Good's killing also inspired former acting U.S. Attorney Richard Barker to speak out about what he sees as the government's hypocrisy. This is his first on-camera interview since resigning.
In the one instance, really nobody was hurt, and the protesters were charged. In another instance, somebody's life was taken, and DOJ wants to give that person immunity.
These are things that are supposed to be fundamentally American. These are the things that when I joined the military, I thought I was joining to protect. You have a right as an American to voice your opinion. You can't do it violently. You can't do it in a way that harms other people. But you have a right to stand up for what you believe in.
Oh, you got it.
Bajun's jury trial is scheduled for May 18th. For PBS NewsHour, I'm Aaron Glantz in Spokane, Washington.
Support journalism you trust. Support PBS News. Donate now, or even better, start a monthly contribution today.